Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you here. I'm very excited to actually be part of the fair again this year, but obviously we respect that we've got social distancing, but it feels really good to get back to normal and to have these events again. So very nice to see you, and thanks for coming to hear a bit more. So these are just my ideas about brain development and play. Of course, I'm not a medical doctor, but brain development and play is something that I think is something we all need to have more awareness about. So I'd like to just give you some sharing about brain development and play and how we do it in the Fairchild way. I'm going the wrong way. It's okay. New technology. So if you imagine a child that is going into our K1 class in August this year, they will be graduating at the end of secondary school in 2035. And these are some of the jobs of the 21st century. So some of them already exist now, but more and more we'll see your children potentially becoming, for example, an implant organ designer, perhaps a biochemical engineer. One of them, just right at the bottom, respiratory therapist. So a lot of these jobs may not exist in a lot now, but more and more we'll see your children doing these jobs. And how do we need to get there? It all starts with what is happening in the brain. Right from the minute a baby is born, they're processing information about the world around them and trying to find out how to make their way in the world. This is just obviously very technical. I did go through this presentation with my daughter who's 14 and she studies psychology, so she was trying to explain to me the different parts of the brain. I don't think we need to go into a lot of detail, but what is important is to know that 90% of a child's brain development happens before the age of 5. Now, this is statistics according to the Center of the Developing Child of Harvard University. But what it does bring home to us as educators and as parents is that early childhood really matters, because the experiences that you provide for your child from a very early age will have a lasting impact on the outcomes for them. Information is being processed by your child's brain every minute of every day, and that really influences how they see the world. This is something I learned at Uchung College from one of their professors, Professor Bay. So we've talked about at the age of 5, a child's brain will be 90% of its adult size. But what is interesting is that from birth, the child's brain is already 25% of its adult size. Obviously, through age 1, it's half the size. There's a lot of brain development going on in that first year. Obviously, that's why children sleep so much. That's when the crucial brain development and information being processed is consolidated in their brain. So by age 3, 80% of the adult size. By age 5, as we've mentioned, 90% of its adult size. Another interesting fact, by the time your child is age 11, their brain is actually fully grown in terms of size. But of course, it's not fully mature yet, and puberty, right through to 25, children are still processing, and they have another hard wiring. For example, my daughter, age 14 now, there's a phenomenal amount of brain development that's going on, and actually, it really does surprise me in the terms of thinking that she has. Obviously, it's also a very addictive stage in terms of technology. We have that added complication now, but it just amazes me that within the first 5 years, it's so, the influences your children have are so crucial to their brain development, but again, when they're in their teenage years. But you don't need to worry about that too much. A little bit about brain architecture. So of course, the early years are crucial. Brains are built over time, much like the foundations of a house. You're doing it in stages, and it has to go through a certain process. There's no point in pushing things like phonics too early, because sometimes children's brains are just not ready for it. Lots of things happen. There are golden moments of development. So that's something to bear in mind as you're picking a good school and good experiences for your child. Brain architecture is comprised of lots of cells inside your brain, what we call as neurons. There are more than 1 million new neural connections from every second that are happening in your brain. The speed of those connections is utterly amazing. We need those connections happening so that we can form higher level thinking, things like self-regulation, particularly important for the younger children. Also problem solving and communication skills, these all happen before the age of 5. So it's really much harder, things like critical thinking, it's much harder to develop those skills when your child is past that golden age. So really 6 and under is the crucial time. So one major ingredient, the last point there in this developmental process, is that a serve and return reaction between a parent and a child, or a caregiver and a child, or an educator and a child, or a child and a child. These are what make the connections happen in your child's brain. And it's the quality of that serve and return reaction. If you think about a newborn baby, they're crying. They're communicating to you that they need attention. Maybe they're hungry, maybe they need to have their nappy changed, maybe they're tired. Even from that early stage, your child is communicating their needs to you, and that happens obviously throughout their childhood. The quality of that communication that you have from your child, so even when you smile, you're using the term what we call parent ease or mother ease. That's one language that you're using with that child to continue the communication with them so that they can figure out what's happening in the world. That's a crucial part. So there are lots of factors, of course, that affect brain development. The chart here with the circles, of course, nutrition is very important. Also reducing stressful situations, and of course the experiences that you provide for your child. And of course different experiences provided by a supportive caregiver, again a crucial part of the equation. These experiences need to be playful. So of course they have to be fun. If you think about your own situation, when you're learning how to make a recipe, for example, you can Google it, you can find lots of videos on YouTube, but it's probably not until you actually do the recipe yourself that you can get feedback, you can reflect, and you can evaluate how successful that has been. It's the same for children when they're in a classroom. They're trying out new things all the time. And it's not until you actually do it repeatedly and in lots of different ways that you actually master that skill. I often think of cooking as a very good one. Lots of our children do these kind of activities which are very hands-on. And I think cooking is a very good way for you to help develop skills with children. You always want to eat pancakes or muffins or cakes or even something that your family's never tried before. But going through that experience, it's playful, it's varied, it's individualized. So maybe one of your children prefer pancakes more than cupcakes, so you can tailor it. Daily routines is very important as well. Children really thrive on routines. As we've seen in the last few months, children's routines have changed very differently. They haven't been able to go to school in the normal way and see their families. But having routines such as maybe having breakfast together as a family, maybe spending some time reading some books together, having morning time where they do activities or obstacle courses around your house, you have the opportunity to put those in place and make the day normal for children. We want to have repeated action. So another thing that's very interesting is that we know that to learn a new skill, you may have to do that up to 400 times before you master that skill. But when you do it in a play-based setting, you may only need to do that 10 to 20 times. So a big difference. So what do we need to do? So we need to provide children with a really good time, a good experience, where they can be open to the influences of many different relationships and experiences. So here you can see that relationships develop within an environment of lots of connection, whether that's with family or your community or with your school. And those relationships will help form intellectual, social, emotional, physical, and behavioral behaviors. Also, the experiences are very important. So yourself, we all lead very busy lives, but having different experiences, and I know you'll do this as a family, is you'll spend quality time at the weekend and you'll maybe go to maybe Ocean Park, maybe the library, visit family and friends. And those experiences tell your children a lot. They tell your children that we value spending time with you. I think that is a very important message that you give to children when you have those quality days with them. Healthy brain development also requires protection from excessive stress. So, as we've mentioned, the last few months have been very stressful for families, and I know that you as parents will have tried to reduce that as much as possible. I know we as a school have tried to provide things like childcare, sending home activity packs, and providing some routine to your children. But we also encourage children to be innovative and creative. That's something that is part of our mission statement, and it really helps bring bigger outcomes for families and children. So this is, I don't know if you've heard of Sir Ken Robinson. He's a British author. He has written a few books on creativity and innovation, and if you have a look on YouTube, you'll find some of his TED Talks. But Sir Ken Robinson has come up with 8 C's for being competent individuals in society. Now, as schools, this is what we're preparing children for. We want to prepare them for the 21st century and the world of work, and to find their place in the world. So if you have these 8 C's, individuals should be able to engage in many different situations so they're ready for the future. Some of these are covered in our mission statement. For example, curiosity. That's something that we really encourage in children, because they can figure out what they're interested in and what they want to learn further. Creativity, another very useful skill for the future. And we've seen a lot of that in Hong Kong recently, from having to wear masks, for figuring out how to get masks. And the whole process of creativity has really, we've used lots of creative methods to help us get to where we are in Hong Kong now. Citizenship is something that also, again, a political aspect, but something that we need to encourage in children, even from a very early age. In our school, children are seen as a citizen of the world, and they're respected as such. Communication, of course, we communicate in many different ways now, but to communicate effectively, we have information at our fingertips all the time. So we want to make sure that children are efficient at using different skills to communicate. Of course, collaboration, another important one. Compassion, critical thinking, and here's where I need my glasses, composure. So these are skills to bear in mind when you're selecting a place for your child. Is the school that you're thinking about going to promote and support these aspects? So at Fairchild, we really believe in having an ongoing communication, not only with our families, but with our teachers and with our environment. And one thing I'd really like to share with you is that a lot of teachers send their children to our school. That's very satisfying for us to know that lots of teachers are believing in our school as well. So we're preparing children to be happy and to learn through play, because this builds a children's educational foundation. If children love coming to school every day, they're going to love learning, and they're going to be happy going to school. So our mission is to cultivate children's curiosity, their creativity, and their confidence. And children coming to our school, especially the K2 children, they're very confident. They have lots of views to share, they talk a lot, and that's really what we want to see. We want to build children's sense of agency. So if you build a sense of agency through play, children are able to make their own decisions and to decide for themselves what's important to them. And through that, we can figure out what they're interested in and to support the different skills that they need for the future. And of course, through play, children are not as stressed. One thing, lifelong success of children is based on their ability to be creative and to apply lessons that they learn through play in different situations. So for example, role play in a classroom, you'll be dressing up, you'll be pretending to be a restaurant, you'll be pretending to be in a flower shop or at the market. All these are situations which children can create for themselves, and they can also practice different skills. So they practice different roles, maybe being you're the waitress today, you're the chef today. They get to practice that in a very safe environment, and hopefully they will take those little conversations home and do them with you as well. They're learning all the time, practicing their skills, making mistakes, but in a safe way. So of course we know children love to play in a safe environment, and through play they're testing, they're little scientists and they're little researchers, innovating and testing. And you know through your own conversations with your children that they have their own ideas. There's never a right or wrong answer. There might be one that might suit the situation better, but there's never a way where you'll really challenge what they say, because you're always interested to hear their ideas. We've mentioned that from the minute a child is born, they're making sense of the world around them. So even when they're an hour old, they're already efficient researchers. And as children play, they're building connections and relationships, and that provides them with essential social skills to make mistakes and also to fail. Sometimes we need to tell children that it's not always going to go right. Sometimes things don't always go the way we expect them to. So play does all of these things. They allow children to express ideas, to be creative and imaginative. In the green, to learn self-control. That's why a lot of children need to come to school. We have a lot of children who don't have siblings, so in a school situation, they can learn lots of different skills. Of course, they're happy, but we also want children to express negative feelings. Now, this is something that children need to be okay with saying, I don't feel happy, and to express why, because in the real world, it's not positive all the time. Of course, expressing fears, but they can practice that in a safe environment. And also to develop concentration. And when children are playing, we really want to provide them with an opportunity to get really engrossed in that play, because deep play is very different from a very superficial, just playing, as in no choice, no free choice, no structure. We want children to be able to really be engrossed in play, because that can take them much further. In the blue, we want children to share, to care for others, and to communicate, and to play cooperatively with other children. And in the red, of course, we want children to learn and take risks, to investigate, to discover, to explore, to make sense of the world, and to understand the need for rules. That's how they will learn that, through a social situation, and to practice lots of different skills all the time in lots of different ways. So learning at Fairchild, we're a little bit different in that we are inspired by the Reggio Emilia approach. And what this means is that we have an emergent curriculum where children can follow their own wanderings and follow their interests. So we might have one class of K2 that are interested in space, the other K2 class is interested in animal habitats, for instance. So every classroom reflects the identity and interests of the children within that class. We also use the environment as the third teacher, which means that we set out lots of different experiences for children. We use a lot of natural elements, such as natural light comes in, which makes children feel at home quite quickly. We want to provide a place where children are feeling like they can come to a second home, and they're ready to learn as soon as they come into school. We also provide documentation, so by that we mean we share the learning that's happening at school with you at home. And that might be in the form of a video, it might be in the form of a learning story, an email from parents, or just some photos of what your child is doing on a day-to-day basis. We also have a lot of good community collaboration, not only with other schools, other kindergartens, but also with the university and the wider community. The other unique thing about what we do is the role of the adult, so not just us as educators, but also you as parents, is very important to what's happening in our classrooms. And the role of the adult is really to provide appropriate interaction with children, prepare the environment, give spontaneous play opportunities as well. But we do all of these things and a lot more. So our curriculum, although we do a lot of free play, we follow the Reggio Emilia philosophy. We also follow the early learning frameworks from Ontario in Canada. And also for our younger classes, we use the local Hong Kong curriculum guide. But we are inquiry-based, which gives children a lot of opportunity to discover, to be interested in things which have meaning for them. And that makes the learning much more authentic to the child. We have lots of programs. We have both a bilingual stream, which is English and Mandarin, and an international stream, which is English with some exposure to Mandarin. We're very happy to share that we have a lot of our children going to good international schools. So over 70% of our children will go on to international schools, such as ESF, Hong Kong International School, French International School, Australian International School, and many others. Some of our children, 20%, are going to local schools, for example, Gaoyuan, and some of our children go back overseas. So I'd like to share with you a video. This video is called Perfect Place. So one of our children last year said, as he was walking to school with his mum, I know this perfect place. And his mum asked him, where is that? And he said, it's my school. So I'd like to give you a flavour of a window into our school. You'll see pictures from both our kindergarten campus in Sai Ying Pun and also our campus, playgroup campus in Tin Hau. So give you a quick snapshot before we finish.
A warm welcome to Fairchild. Fairchild Kindergarten, in the words of one of our children, is one of those perfect places where children enjoy coming to school every day with a big smile. We offer classes for children from age 2 up to age 6, in a pre-nursery class right up to our K3 level. We provide an immersive language-rich environment for students in an international school where children come from a diverse community from countries all over the world. At our kindergarten, we have an international stream and a dual language stream, which is in English and Mandarin. And this helps us promote bilingualism and reflects part of our culture in Hong Kong and in China. At Fairchild Kindergarten, the development of the whole child in a play-focused environment is central to everything that we do. Our learning approach includes the Reggio Emilia philosophy, which combined with an inquiry focus allows the children to use 100 languages, which is a key aspect of the Reggio Emilia approach. This emphasises hands-on discovery learning, which allows the child to use all their senses, to use different languages in which they learn and express themselves. As adults, we retain around 80% of what we experience, so providing a variety of rich experiences is so important for children at this young, formative stage, helping them to reduce stress and anxiety. Children are capable of constructing their own learning and are driven by their interests to wonder and understand more. Through providing children with a sensory-rich learning environment with multiple learning experiences, they can use different natural resources through which they can explore the creative arts, music, movement, STEM activities, and our children can still achieve academic skills such as reading and numeracy in a much more authentic and meaningful way. Doing this through an inquiry-based approach to learning, we cultivate curiosity, creativity, and confidence in each child. We use the environment as the third teacher. Our thoughtfully designed school provides unique learning spaces. We bring the outdoors in with the use of lots of natural light. We see wood, open-ended resources, including sand, water, soil, and quality teaching materials to pique children's interests. Our schools encourage children's collaboration, communication, and exploration, while respecting the capability of children and their interests. We honour children's right to play with our dedicated and experienced educators, supporting the building of strong relationships through rich, hands-on learning. We believe that life is a journey and not a race. We encourage children to enjoy their childhood through playful, interesting, and age-appropriate activities. Fairchild Junior Academy, our amazing Teen House campus, offers a spacious and welcoming learning environment for our youngest learners, children starting from 6 months up to age 4 years. Our facilities there include a treehouse, a discovery loft, a vertical garden, terrarium. It's an ideal place for young children to play and learn. If you plan for your child to attend a place where they're happy coming to school, we encourage your child to start their learning journey with us from a playgroup class to help prepare them for their preschool journey ahead. We hope you will consider Fairchild and our unique learning environment for your child. Children are excited and happy when they come to school. This sets the scene for enjoyable, real learning experiences that really support the children's healthy growth and development. Come and visit us for a trial class or join us for a future open house. We look forward to being on this discovery journey with you and your child, and we'll help to build their creativity, curiosity, and confidence through our natural, inquiry, hands-on learning at Fairchild Kindergarten in Hong Kong.
I like Fairchild. I like Fairchild. I like Fairchild.
So as you see, we do lots of different activities, a lot of messy play, but essentially a lot of hands-on experiences. We're running very short of time. I'll just very quickly run through the last slides. 2 minutes. So we have 2 campuses, and we really encourage you to come and talk to us at our booth. We're in the first room. So our Teen House campus, we have classes for children from 8 months up to age 4. And our Sai Ying Pun campus, we have pre-nursery from age 2 up to age 6. At our Sai Ying Pun campus, we have an open house on the 4th of July. Any time between 1 and 4, you're welcome to join us and come and bring your children to come and play. Sorry, can I go back to the presentation? Oh, sorry, is it on the next slide? Oh, sorry, here. So, sorry, just a final thing. Your job is to be a brain surgeon. I bet you never thought of yourself as a brain surgeon. But science tells us that child development points to 3 core things where we can help children to be successful. So we need supportive relationships. We need to strengthen core life skills through different experiences. And we need to reduce stress for children. And how do we do this? It's very simple. One word, play. Play can help us achieve that. So your job and our job is to help you be a brain surgeon, to give your children quality experiences that input into their brain and to give them those skills to cope with life ahead. So as I say, we have 2 campuses. Come and see us, come and chat to us. We've got some folders. You're welcome to take one of the bags on the chairs with you. And we have summer program if you're ready to come and join us. And please follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And come and see our perfect place. Thank you very much.